Chapter 1. The Artist of Death. Something more goes to the composition of a fine murder than two blockheads to kill and be killed, a knife, a purse, and a dark lane. Design, grouping, light and shade, poetry, and sentiment are indispensable to the ideal murder. Like Aeschylus or Milton in poetry, like Michelangelo in painting, a great murderer carries his art to a colossal sublimity. Thomas De Quincey, on Murder Considered as One of the Fine Arts. London, 1854. Titian, Rubens, and Van Dyck, it is said, always practiced their art in full dress. Prior to immortalizing their visions on canvas, they bathed, symbolically cleansing their minds of any distractions. They put on their finest clothes, their best wigs, and in one case even a diamond-hilted sword. The artist of death had similarly prepared himself. Dressed in evening clothes, he sat for 2 hours staring at a wall, focusing his sensations. When darkness cast shadows through a curtained window, he lit an oil lamp and put the equivalent of brushes, paint, and canvas into a black leather bag. Mindful of Rubens, he included a wig, which was yellow in contrast with the light brown of his own hair. A matching actor's beard was added to the bag. 10 years earlier, a beard would have drawn attention, but a recent trend made beards almost to be expected, as opposed to his increasingly unusual clean-shaven features. He set a heavy ship carpenter's mallet among the other items in the bag. The mallet was aged and had the initials J.P. stamped into its head. In place of the diamond-hilted sword that one artist had worn as he painted, the artist placed a folded, ivory-handled razor in his pocket. He stepped from his refuge and walked several blocks until he reached a busy intersection, where he waited at a cab stand. After 2 minutes, an empty hansom finally came along, its driver seated prominently behind the sleek vehicle. The artist of death didn't mind standing in plain view, despite the cold December night. In fact, at this point he wanted to be seen, although anyone observing him would soon find it difficult, as fog drifted in from the Thames, casting a halo around gas lamps. The artist paid 8p for the driver to take him to the Adelphi Theatre in the Strand. Amid the bustle of carriages and the clop of hooves, he made his way toward a well-dressed crowd waiting to go inside. The Adelphi's gaslit marquee indicated that the sensational melodrama The Corsican Brothers was being performed. The artist of death was familiar with the play and could answer any questions about it, especially its unusual device of 2 first acts, which occurred in sequence but were meant to be imagined as taking place simultaneously. In the first part, a brother saw the ghost of his twin. The next part dramatized how the twin was killed at the same time the brother saw his ghost. The revenge in the final part was so violent, with such copious amounts of stage blood, that many members of the audience claimed to be shocked, their outrage promoting ticket sales. The artist of death joined the excited crowd as they entered the theatre. His pocket watch showed him that the time was 7:20. The curtain was scheduled to rise in 10 minutes. In the confusion of the lobby, he passed a vendor selling sheet music of the Ghost Melody, featured in the play. He exited through a side door, walked along a fog-shrouded alley, concealed himself behind shadowy boxes, and waited to determine if anyone followed him. Feeling safe after 10 minutes, he left the far end of the alley, walked 2 blocks, and hired another cab, no longer needing to wait inasmuch as numerous empty cabs were now departing from the theatre. This time he went to a less fashionable part of the city. He closed his eyes and listened to the cab's wheels shift from the large, smooth granite pavers on the main streets to the small, rough cobblestones of the older lanes in London's East End. When he descended into an area where evening clothes were hardly common, the driver no doubt believed that the artist intended to solicit a streetwalker. Behind the closed door of a public privy, he took ordinary clothes from the leather bag, put them on, and folded his theatre garments into the bag.